And we're live. Welcome to Music Matters with Jason Tramm, and thank you so much for joining us for a unique podcast community where we explore the triumphs and challenges of the performing arts world as seen through the eyes of distinguished colleagues. Thank you so much for helping us grow. We recently hit 1,600 and so subscribers. Every day we grow, and people listen to the show and they check out our different videos and check out our guests. Our guests span classical music, rock music, indie singer-songwriters, everything in between, rap, you name it. We talk about it here on Music Matters. I love having these conversations with artists across genres because we learn so much from each other. Please remember to subscribe on YouTube and smash that bell icon for the most up-to-date information on our upcoming guests and topics. We love it when you like and share our video, and remember, you can chat with us on the show and ask questions of our guests. We love when you join the conversation. We have a fantastic guest today, Mr. Malcolm Brickhouse, who is having an incredible solo career and delving into genre-bending music that combines heavy metal, thrash, also hip-hop, and some R&B, and everything in between. He comes from the band Unlocking the Truth, which is his first band. He formed with friends when they were in middle school and high school, and they had incredible success, and they were street performers in Times Square in New York City and became YouTube and social media stars, appearing on The Tonight Show, The View, CNN, The Fuse, BET. And they were the youngest band to play on Coachella. Wow. They opened for such bands as Guns N' Roses, Motorhead, Queens of the Stone Age, Living Colour. Unbelievable. So welcome, Malcolm.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So it must have been incredible, that rocket ship of a start to your career. And man, how does band go from coming together, playing on the street, to such incredible fame?
I could tell you how it happened. I can't tell you, like, I don't, we kind of just, my mom, we were making music in the basement, and then my mom saw the talent in it, and she wanted to expose us to the world. So my mom and my dad had the genius idea to take us in Times Square, and we would make like $2,000 like a weekend, and it would make us money. And my dad would record, or other people outside would record in Times Square while we were performing. And it's three black kids playing metal. Of course, it's going to attract a bunch of people. So, you know, one day one of the videos went viral. And then everything just started flowing until it stopped.
And people always say, well, yeah, let's wake up. But people always say that, oh, you got lucky, but there's no luck unless there's skill and hard work behind that, right? So tell us how you guys came together, and tell us about your start as a musician.
I always liked, I was always into dark stuff since I was younger. Like, for example, like my favorite wrestler was The Undertaker.
I saw
Like,
an incredible podcast with him on the Joe Rogan show. I don't know if you saw it.
oh
What
no,
an
that's,
interesting man.
wow, yeah, I gotta watch that.
He was
It
actually
was
incredibly dedicated. He wasn't a good actor. So, and they're like, I don't know what to do with this big guy, but he's really big and he's strong. He's a good wrestler. But how do we make him interesting? So they
right.
came up with, he can't really act. So let's just put him in dark makeup.
Right, that's crazy. Wow, yeah. But yeah, I didn't even know from Children of Bodom. Like I didn't know that Alexei Laio, is that how you say his name, died recently. Or yeah, that's the kind of the guy who like inspired me to paint my nails black and stuff like that. Like I was just always into darker things. I liked metal, for example. Like I just liked everything dark. I don't know why. Um, so I liked heavy metal and I picked up a guitar. My mom gave, I don't know, they bought me a guitar and I just really loved it. And I don't know, I've always came up with songs in my head since I was younger. Like I've always been able to, I just had that knack. I just been able to, even before I could like even record, I just knew there were songs in my head. I was always able to make them. It would just pop up. Now I would have these melodies and I knew that the guitar was right for me. And then life did its thing and the band formed together, you know? And then, went Times Square, video was viral, and then all this success. It's like a dream. I don't understand it either.
What an incredible, just a lightning in a bottle, we say. And it's just everything explodes. And I mean, how does one stay true to themselves when you have such incredible, you're opening up for bands like we mentioned, like Guns N' Roses and all these incredible luminaries in the field. How does one stay normal and stay yourself?
I don't really think you can in that environment. I think it changes you. Uh, I started out making music just because I liked it, and now it's kind of a job. So it's not going to be the same. It has to be like an inner thing. You have to remember why you're doing it, and you can't get lost in what we call the sauce now. Just remember why you're doing it. You're not. It's not only the fans, the fame, the money, all that. That's cool, but it's really about the love of music. And for me, just me personally, I did lose the love of music and was at that point chasing the fame to see how far I could go. You know. So I learned my lesson. I had to rediscover my love for music again. That was a part of my quarantine. Um, yeah, so I don't know. You have to just remember why you're doing it.
I think that's a good point. I've heard that from people in multiple disciplines that when you have that young success, eventually you have to figure out how to, like, what do I do for the rest of my adult career as an artist?
Mhm.
Your new music is totally different.
Mhm.
And in such, it's deeper. It has your original elements. I hear the hardness to it, and I hear the
Mhm.
darkness, but it's also got other influences as well.
Right. You like me to explain them and where they
Sure,
come from?
absolutely.
Um, truthfully be told, is there any limits on what I can say, like curses?
Not at all.
Okay. So honestly, the real story is, um, like while I was signed, like B blew up from the Chelsea Grin breakdown video, the brutal breakdown video. If you could look it up, that's when I went viral, and I was really into death metal at that time. So I felt like I had to make heavy music, and that's why we were popular. So right there, this is what I'm saying in the industry. You know, you already got to change yourself. I'm not even being true to myself because I'm just doing what I think is expected. One day, you know, while I was 15 or 16, I decided, well, I'm gonna try to expand my mind. And as a stupid teenager, I just took some acid, started experimenting with stuff like that, and it opened my mind, and I realized I could make anything I wanted to make. It's art. Life is art. So Rapture is from the time I took that psychedelic and my trips from then, and it just continued to grow. It was always inside of me. I just needed something to unlock it, you know?
Now, did you like what music did you grow up with? What was in your house? What kind of you said that you were always into death metal and hard rock, but was that all that was around, or what other music do you
No,
enjoy?
no. From coming from African American based society, there's always hip hop, R&B. You know, I think that's it. Whatever, like Jamaican music, I don't care. There's like a whole bunch of influences. It's not only metal. I'm into metal, not as much, not as much anymore. But when I was younger, I was really into metal. But all those other sounds were always in my ear. And when the SoundCloud era came out, I was very intrigued. And again, like for example, like someone like Little Uzi gave me the same rock star aesthetic. He's not playing guitar, but it's like an aesthetic he had. I was really intrigued in. And then more people started coming like that. So and I got sick of making music I was making with Unlocking the Truth, and I wanted to change it. Like I wasn't satisfied with it anymore, and I just practiced and found my own sound on how to implement all these ideas I have and make the music that I want to make.
That's
I
so
love
important as an artist is to explore new ideas, new ways to go, new
it. Mhm.
pathways.
And
Tell us.
metalheads hate change. They hate change, but it's okay. It's not for them. It's for the new kids.
It's true. It's a good point. I mean, people who like that the unlocking the truth era of your life are always going to like that. But it's
Hmm.
always interesting to see how people grow.
Right. I didn't know I was gonna be like. I didn't know my music would sound like this. It just happened.
You know, who's kind of like that in an interesting way, who kind of had that immediate success, like Sting. You look at someone like that who went in a
Right.
totally different direction. And
Hmm.
I like both because I think it's just so interesting. It's the same person, same musical personality, but people grow over time, and you're just in that growing and evolving process.
Right. Yeah. It's very interesting. It's like a my music is a part of I don't know, my whole experience. It's a reflection of where I am as a person. So as long as I keep growing, as long as I'm alive, then my music's always gonna change.
Well, it's exciting, and I can't wait to see where it goes because you have such an interesting point of view. When I listen to, we have an agreement with Reverb Nation, and they send us a lot of artists, and I listen to them. And the ones I like that grab me, I always invite to the show. And I heard your first couple songs. I'm like, this guy is talented. Not only is it's interesting sonically, but he's got a lot to say as an artist. So I was just
Yeah,
moved by your music.
thank you. Appreciate that.
And I come from the classical side of things,
Yeah,
but
that's what makes it crazier for me. I don't like because metalheads are so like just scream again. Like they're like, very against it. Like it feels like everything else. Blah 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 blah. Like so, it's very interesting hearing someone from your background of music.
you know what
Is
it
that
is.
is
To
interesting.
me, there's like I've heard multiple famous composers say this. There's two types of music, good and bad, right?
Right.
Good music is it's just the artists who put it together. It's the care that goes into it. For me, it's about contrasts. It's about if everything is one level of dynamic, loud, 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 I get bored because I
Right.
need it to change.
I actually think even in my new music, I struggle with that. I feel like in rock music, it's a battle to struggle with like the whole flat. It's just flat and it just stays there. I don't know if you know what I mean by that, but like it just feels like it just sits there with like there's nothing going on. There's no movement. There's no ride to the song. I've been working on that. And as a composer, I'm surprised that you like it because that's my main thing right now. Like I'm over criticizing my music on that. But that's
Well,
interesting that you think that that may not be the case in your head.
well, I think I just love. I could tell if there was different influences in there, and there were different things going on. I like the hard edge to it. My one son is 16. He's a drummer. My other son's 22. So I put it in the car, and they each were like, "Yeah, that's great. Like it's just great stuff." So they each heard something different. Me being 46 and then 22 and 16, it gives me kind of like,
Yeah,
it
that
crosses
is
that
crazy.
age groups. It kind of gives a
That,
totally
that
different spin.
that's crazy. Yeah, I'm humbled by that. Thank you.
Wow. So tell me what it was like, starting your own thing, leaving the first band. Did it take you a long time to get back into music?
No, the real story, because I just keep it real, is that the Unlocking the Truth was based on a bunch of hype of three black kids playing metal that can only last but so long. And when it died out. There was already infighting in the band because of greed, you know. Um, so by the time I went solo, like I was already like after we recorded Chaos, I learned how to record by myself. I watched like the whole production with Johnny K. He produced our album Chaos. Johnny K also produced for Disturbed, Finger 11, Megadeth. So I really watched his process and studied him. And when I went back home, I kind of just figured it out myself. And for a while, I was just making music and doing a bunch of stuff by myself and releasing it under the alias Unlocking the Truth, even though it was just me. So when it all died down and then the argument got too much, it was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna do this by myself, and that's it. It wasn't really much of a change. It was more of a letting go. Like, yeah, this was cool. It was fun while it lasted.
It's like a chapter. You're a young man. It's a chapter in a book. You're going to see as your life goes on. Me at 46, I've been through many chapters myself as an artist and as a musician. And,
Hmm.
I always look back there and I'm like, oh, that was a good one. We did some great shows there and some great shows there.
Right,
But it's just, it's an evolution. And you're a person.
right,
And I always wonder how the bands that stay together for incredibly long times, how they do it. Because it just seems so difficult when you have that level of fame, like the Rolling Stones or any of those
right.
bands that are around for. I just wonder how they do it.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I tried to make up an answer, and I just don't believe the answer would be true. Like, I don't understand how that's possible either.
Like the Rolling Stones, man. I mean, I know they all do their own projects. The ones who stay together for a long time, they all have their
Right.
own things going on. So I guess they have to because the
Yeah.
music you make when you're in your 20s is not what you're feeling when you're in your 40s and
Right.
50s.
I think that was a good point to make. Like I don't know, maybe like going off and doing your own thing, so you won't be so attached to that one project. When you're attached, you have like all these like say like the lead singer gets more attention, like that starts infighting. But if you have your own project to do, there's no need for the infighting. There's less. You know, if everybody knows their role to play and where they stand, then there's not much problem. But I think a lot of it is just greed.
Must be very difficult when you're in the situations. So tell me some of the some of the artists you've met along the way who inspired you, like on the road and that you saw play live, they opened for.
Inspired me. Inspired. Hmm. I mean, these bands always inspired me. That's why I started picking up music. So like Disturbed, I never really got to see Slipknot. I think I have. I'm not. I just don't remember it. I've literally seen every band and met almost every band that I've ever wanted to meet. So like it's kind of like I don't look at it as inspired. Uh, it's just cool to have the experience to meet them. But I can't say they inspired me necessarily, to be honest.
Okay.
The only person that really inspires me is me being scared of not being the best me. That's the realest answer I can give for that. That's really what pushed me to do it. So, but there are artists I really like. You know, like right now I'm into this rapper named Lucky, and he's like a cloud trap rapper. Like I worship this man's music, and it sounds nothing like my music, but it's a big influence in it.
Once again, there's some rappers even that I really enjoy, but I've had a couple on the show, some indie rappers. I'm just fascinated by the process, how they put their music together, how they put their beats together, how they compose, and their sound world. And
Right.
it may be a different genre, but man, some of them are incredible in the studio,
Yeah.
like
Definitely.
wizards.
I kind of just record by myself. I just have a basement. I'm not gonna give away the secrets, but it's all done by myself.
I always say that this is the era of the indie artist. Indie artists have
Yeah.
never had this type of ability to put out their music to such a large audience.
Right. I'm actually confused about marketing myself. I don't even know how to get my music out there. So I'm just doing things, you know. If it happens, it happens. It's kind of how I'm looking at it right now. But
I was on your YouTube page today, and you had something like 20 something thousand subscribers. So it sounds like it's getting out there.
well, to be honest, those subscribers are from Unlocking the Truth. We just changed the name of the page to Michael Brickhouse. So it's kind of confusing. Still a confused situation. I'm technically starting over all the way from scratch.
But there's something really
But
good about that.
I've been established, so it does add like a little bit of you know points there here and there. But I still need to build my own career. It's not the thrash metal. It's not the scream. I'm not screaming anymore. It's a whole new thing, and I don't, I don't want to. I don't like when people think that because I was in Unlocking the Truth, it means that it's easier for me to become successful because I'm doing something completely different. This is not the same three black cute kids doing or like controversial, like oh my god they got signed to Sony, they're white, blah blah blah. Like that's not what this is anymore. I'm 20 and it's not cute anymore, and I have to prove myself.
Well, you're on the way to doing that. I mean, your songs are really, really powerful. You really have a different spin to them. I think
Hmm.
it's, I liked what I heard with Unlocking the Truth. It was kind of like, it had an edgy, hard rock sound and a heavy metal
Hmm.
sound. But your music now combines that with real hooks, like meaty, some real good hooks.
Thank you. I've been told I have a good sense of melody. I don't know where that comes from.
Did you always sing? Did you sing first or play the guitar first?
I'm not a natural singer. I was, I mean, in the documentary of the Breaking the Monster documentary, there's scenes in there where like I'm like they're teaching me how to sing. A lot of the problems also too were like the reason why we didn't release music on Unlocking the Truth like that early, because we released Chaos, our album, independently. Um, when we were with Sony, like I was so didn't my voice was so maturing, I didn't know how to sing yet, and I kind of like even today the music that I'm putting out today, like I went to a bunch of vocal lessons. I should start going back because I smoke a lot and I don't really take the best care of my body, so maybe I should go back to some singing lessons. But yeah, I'm not a natural singer. No. I learned it was a learned thing, and it's kind of like for me now, like I take like the rap influence, and I like the way they just go in the booth and just spit with whatever's on there. It's like a flow thing. It's like in the moment. It's so like it's not like the where you have to sit down and write lyrics. That's kind of how I do it now. So it's less pressure on me. Like I have to be such a great singer. I just express or like I make flows. It's more about the flows and how it flows in the song rather than being the best singer. It's about how creative I can be.
Interesting. That's interesting that some of the lyrics just come to you and like you kind of how that idea of flow.
Hmm.
Is that common in the rap world where people just kind of see what comes to them and it just freestyle it?
I mean, yeah. I mean, when you could talk about money, bitches, and drugs, I mean, it's pretty easy.
I had a couple rappers on here. They talked about like they don't talk about that because like everyone talks about that,
Yeah.
but it certainly is that something we all recognize, right? Everyone wants the
Mm-hmm.
status, the symbols, the women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I just go in there and talk about how I feel. I kind of just like well, I'll like make the riffs and stuff, make the whole instrumental part. Not all of it, so I can make a hook or something. And then I know that's the hook or the verse, and then I'll like sit there, come up with some melodies, like I'll mumble something in the microphone, like mumble a melody, blah blah blah, and then fill it in later with like whatever ideas come to me, whatever words come, and it fills in with the whatever melody I just made. It's kind of how the process is, and I just build if I did that for a verse, now I do the same thing for a chorus, and it just keeps building from there. And sometimes some of the songs suck, and you're never gonna hear them, and sometimes they come out really well. It's really an experiment. I never know how my song is gonna come out. I have such different kinds of music. Like the music you hear now, uh, a song I could put out like tomorrow, like if I were to, would be completely different from Rapture.
Yeah,
It just
Rapture had a great man. That's a rocking song. It had a lot to it.
thank you, thank you. Yeah, that was one of the ones where it was just really natural for me. It was just really easy to come up with. Um, I think the hardest part of that song was just like the ending. I don't know how to end it. I started off with a chorus, kind of like "Let's get high in this disaster." Like that felt like a chorus part. And like when you start for the chorus, it's kind of weird. I don't know. You don't want to keep hearing the chorus over and over. So at the end, I had to come up with something different. And like I put like this little bridge chorusy kind of thing where I'm like singing harder. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I'm just chattering about
I
composition.
love the way you kind of you're mixing it up. When it gets too methodical, too like laid out in advance, it kind of loses the spontaneity. Maybe that's
Right.
that idea of flow can
Hmm.
helps break that up because some bands are so boring with that.
Right. And I'm very careful about that, and I'm very aware of that. It could eat my that especially rock for some reason rock music is easy for it to feel flat because rappers, I mean, their beats are looped like it's flat, but they have a bounce to it. They found a way to make it like well they hook you, and the reason why rap is so short is because they hook you real quick. They give you a verse, whatever, give you a hook again, and it's over, and you want to hear it again and again and again and again. So it's smart. What they did was smart. I can't hate on it. You know, it's up to us now, the rock people, to find out a new way to fit what's happening right now. So I'm experimenting with that.
So what do you have to say? I hear this all the time that rock is dead. Now they've been saying that for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. What does that mean, and how is that? What would you say about that?
I mean, rock doesn't speak to the youth anymore. I can't say it's dead; it's alive. I mean, there would be like download festivals and stuff like that if the rock was dead. And maybe it's not as cool as it used to be. I guess not. It's not dead. I just don't think it speaks to the youth. I just don't think the right person has came along yet, and history repeats itself. So there'll be a day when an artist appears and he's able to speak to the youth, or he or she'll be able to speak to the youth through the rock music. I think that rock music now, I'm not gonna like name any bands in general, but like what I'm watching is like, I think that they're aware that rap is the biggest genre. That's like pop music now, and they kind of like go their approach to it is a little forced. Like I can tell that you're trying to make it hip hop and metal. I could tell that it's not natural. Like you're adjusting. Where me, on the other hand, I kind of feel like it's kind of just natural. It feels a little more natural. I don't feel like I'm trying to force it. I mean, that's just how I feel, from my perspective, how I hear my music.
I love the fact that you're always experimenting and nothing's set in stone. That's really
Mhm.
a lot of composers like that. They're always kind of exploring and finding new ways. And if you
Mhm.
get locked into one way of doing something, it's not going to work. I mean,
No, not at all.
and the idea that you're drawing inspiration from rap, yeah, rap has become the biggest art form.
Hmm.
What would you give the why is rap so everywhere today across all of America? Rap is huge.
It's rebellious. I mean, that's why like I don't know how old you are, but I'm assuming like back in your days, like Iron Maiden records, Metallica, like they were the biggest bands. Why? Because they were so rebellious. The youth listened. They had a voice. It was like that was their voice. Right now, rap is our voice. I don't know. It's a sense of freedom, a sense of fuck authority. We're gonna do what
Yep.
we want. And not to make it like racial or anything, but like like with the flaunting all the money and stuff like that, and like it's like, I guess for African Americans, it's like we finally have what we want. Like maybe it's an ignorant way to show it, but like it's a sign of like fuck you to like everybody that didn't understand them, and that's what usually the biggest music is done. To give someone a voice.
Back in the, I guess, the 80s and late 70s was punk rock, and then it was
Right.
like the Metallica in the 80s and 90s, and
Hmm.
today it's definitely rap. And that goes across, it goes across racial lines too. I mean,
Hmm.
I live in the suburbs, and people love their rap music
Right.
everywhere. I mean, and I teach at a
Hmm.
university. I teach an introductory course to Western music, and most of the course listens to pop and rap.
Hmm.
And I love to explain. I love to bring them to classical music, to how to listen to them. But I like it too. I love interviewing people who are in the genres and talking about what
Right.
makes the music so damn exciting.
Yeah, it's just really exciting. It's really fast paced. You just hear it and it's done, and then you can move on to the next thing. And like, that goes along with like social media and how everything is going. Like everything is very instant gratification. So it just works. It just works so well right now. There's no question why rap is so big. It just happened.
I tell my students, so like and there's nothing wrong with it. But there was pop music in Beethoven's time, Mozart's time.
Right.
There's always been pop music.
Hmm.
People like a certain music, but there's also been art music, and there's like
Right.
blending between. And
Right.
I teach my students that I teach them how to listen to music critically. Don't
Right.
it's like a difference between a McDonald's hamburger, which is I like McDonald's hamburgers, but I wouldn't want to live on a McDonald's hamburger. I like
Right.
steak every once in a while, or a salad, or
Right.
great
Exactly.
music. Finding great music and learning how to listen to it is you can have both.
Right. Exactly. Oh yeah. Bella. Oh, Bella. She's sleeping. One sec. I'm sorry about that.
No worries, man. Who's Bella?
That's my friend. She's sleeping. Family's calling her. Yeah. Okay. It's okay.
Do you have any love of jazz?
No. I appreciate it though. I can tell it's pretty hard game to play. But I never got into it. It's very interesting though. One second. Let me wake her up because her parents definitely want her.
We're on the air with Malcolm Brickhouse, who a singer, songwriter, a guitar player, and putting out some incredible music. And we're having a great conversation.
I'm back.
Welcome back. So, how has the rock scene changed since you entered it as a very young person?
I don't even see it that much anymore. It doesn't pop up on my feed. It doesn't like. I don't see a lot of rock anymore. I mean, I guess Machine Gun Kelly is trying to make it cool again. There's like I see a little bit of wave. There's like a little wave coming back. If you really research it, there's a guy named Poor Stacy. Some guy just got signed to Epitaph Records. I forgot his name. Lil Lotus. Um, it's like little rock. It's to me it's corny, but like it's at least it's rock. At least it's guitar music, and it's being appreciated by young people again. So back then, I wasn't really alive when it was really the at its peak. Like when I found out, like, and I know most metalheads hate new metal for some reason, but that's what I love. Like I love new metal,
I
and
think I think some of it is is like when I was a kid, that was the best music. My mom would say the same thing about her music. I think
mhm,
everyone's like that from the era that they were alive. That was the golden age, right? That was the
right,
golden age of this. That was the golden
mhm,
age of this.
right,
I'm an opera. It's the same thing. Everyone thinks that the best singers were in the '60s. We don't
right,
live in the '60s. We're in the
right. More. Yep.
you got to
You gotta
live in
watch.
your own time.
You gotta watch the greatness in real time.
And they're great artists always. Like I'm just amazed by how many great, really wonderful artists I meet on the show and talk to,
Hmm.
like yourself, and who are doing really cool genre-bending music.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tell me about the COVID era and what that did. Were you performing? Were you traveling? What happened when COVID started in your life?
I started going to rehab. Honestly, uh, so it's a lot of self exploration. Uh, Still making music, but I guess at COVID it was the peak of that character that I was playing as a little kid, like that Malcolm the rock star. Like now you're a rock star and you play this role as Malcolm Brickhouse. You're that rock star. But when the cameras turn off, right, that's still playing in your head. You really believe that you're that person. You start to believe it since everybody's telling us who you are. So at the peak of that, this is even after the band was like, um, even after the band disbanded, I still had the idea that this character was real. That you know, and at the peak of it, I was just a egotistical drug user that could just play guitar, and that was my excuse to do shitty things. So you know, during quarantine, I had to like reevaluate, and I'm still reevaluating. It's still a battle. I don't know if you know substance use disorder. Addiction is a recovery. It's a up and down thing. But yeah,
Yeah, thank you
it's
for
self discovery.
you're such an honest guy. You're such an honest and like straightforward person. So that idea of self exploration is so important as you get older. I mean,
Yeah, I don't want to do this again and lose myself again. I want to remember who I am, and I want to make music that I like, and I don't want to have to please anybody. I just want to make music. Hopefully, it gets to a point where I could feed a family. That's my, you know, and if I love when it touches people. It's not all about just like fame and money. That stuff you can't take with you.
I've heard a lot of people say that they just resent that. You know, they get there and they do their thing and it's hit there, but it also can be like you say you're playing a role, and that's got to be
Hmm.
exhausting playing that role.
Yeah, especially when you believe it's your actual personality.
Yeah, I've heard people say that you're in trouble when you believe your own PR.
Yeah, I never heard that, but that's fire. I love that. I love that. Yeah, yeah. I didn't know myself. I was too young to know myself. I was learning myself. So like at 12, like how am I gonna, like you're telling now, like this is what I'm supposed to be like learning who I am, blah blah blah. But now I'm put in this adult position where this is who I am in this world now, and it's really hard to break that down. And I still work on it to this day.
Well, keep on working and keep on exploring, because that's how you unlock what great music, whether it be classical or pop or rock or heavy metal or any of it,
Hmm.
rap too, is based on universal human emotion. It's touching
Right.
people, and if it
Hmm.
touches you first, you have a better
Right.
chance of touching other people.
Definitely. I only make music that I feel. I mean, most of my songs are about my struggles with, you know, maybe substances, I don't know, insecurities, resentments. It's about everything that I run from, you know? And that's like my little diary where I can express, you know?
That's something that always grabs me when people are authentic. I can just kind of smell that in the music, and that's interesting. And when I meet the people who make it, like yourself, it's so inspirational to me.
Thank you.
And I
Thank
think
you.
to
I
a
don't know.
lot of other people,
No, finish. You can continue. I'm sorry.
I say a lot of other people are going to feel the same way, because when you discover an artist who's really real, who really puts music from their soul, it has a chance to get out there to a lot of people and touch people.
Right. I mean, I guess it'd be really nice for it to touch people. I mean, I really have like, I'm not locking truth anymore. I'm not signed to Sony. I'm not the biggest artist, but the fans that do listen to it and do like message me, I do know my impact, and it makes me happy. Like it's helping them with the same struggles that I had. So like it's really cool.
Have
It's
you
what life is
have you?
about, helping one
But
another.
that's awesome. Helping one another is everything. Have you put your music on like Spotify and the streaming services?
Hmm. It's everywhere. Yeah, it's all over.
And what's it like when you hear people from around the world who hear your music and may not, who will respond to it?
Like knowing that they're just like so far away, like and just uh I don't know. I'm kind of used to it. I remember we couldn't sell a show out in like the United States, but we went to Poland, sold out a whole show. With the Malak and the Truth. Like that's really like I don't know. It's really interesting. I don't understand it. It's really cool though. It's interesting.
I always find it wild when someone watches this show from somewhere else in the world. Like we had a big audience in Turkey, and I'm like,
Hmm.
Turkey? That's such. I'd love to go there, but I've never been.
Right.
And I just think it's amazing that people could find interest in us having this conversation in
Right.
other places. But it makes sense, because we all go through the same thing. The
Right.
same issues you've gone through are going to be anywhere in the world.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, we're all humans, so yeah, it makes sense. We're just somewhere a little bit farther away.
It's true. What are some of the most interesting places you've played?
You want me to give you like the Malcolm answer or like the interview answer?
Your answer, man. So you're whatever you want.
In my head, in my head, that's where the best places I've played. I remember being a kid and performing, and I thought like I would just like perform in my basement, and I thought I was at all these big festivals, and it was like, and I just made believe it was real. Like I would sell tickets to my mother, like I would draw them up, and we'd be like the opening band, and those are the best times when I played it in my head when it was like imaginary. That's the best place.
That is not the answer I thought I would get, but that's amazing.
Yeah,
You're a very deep thinker, my friend.
I can't help it.
So, what songs are you writing now? What are the? Do you have an EP coming out? What are you working on at this moment?
I have like I'm not gonna have a million songs, but I have so many songs. I recently just shot like a visualizer the other day. So there's new music to come soon. I have a music video ready. I have a lot of stuff ready. And just figuring out how to market yourself and all this kind of extra stuff that I really don't feel like dealing with, but is important. So figuring all that stuff out. It's a little annoying, but I'll figure it out. And yeah, so I have a lot of music coming. I'm working on the EP. So if that's to answer your question, I have 4 songs for sure that I want on it, but I have a million songs I could put out. But for EP, I'm looking for a certain sound. So I'm picking out the best songs for this sound I'm going for. The more blendy, taking like the hip hop and metal thing and trying to make it work. So I'm taking the best songs out of those that I have, and I might have to make some more. Because I have 4 right now. I want to make it 6, and I feel like I have songs that are close to it, but they're just not at that level. So it's almost there. I'm still gonna put out music. I know that like from the fans that did follow me from last year, until Rapture, I took like a 9-month break from dropping anything. So I apologize for that. Anybody that really supports me, I apologize about that. It's personal stuff, figuring things out. But yeah, I'm working on just staying consistent and giving the fans what they want. And yeah.
Keep on making good music, my friend, and putting it out there, and when you can, and can't wait to hear what this is going to sound like.
Yeah, I can't wait for you guys to
What
respond.
can you tell? What can you tell us about this? What's going to be different about this EP coming out?
I mean, someone said today, someone said this is how rock music should sound today. I like that. I like that. It came from a 70-year-old's mouth. This is
Ooh,
how rock music should sound today.
kids are honest.
Yeah. So,
And people has had such a hard time. I mean, I just see it in my undergrads and in my family. We've all had such a hard time. COVID was so hard in so many ways. And where would we be without the music to kind of help us
mhm,
touch our emotions?
right. I don't know. I don't know where we'd be. I actually have a very weird relationship with music. I understand that, but I fully agree. But music is such a weird thing for me. I don't know. Um, it's an emotional thing. It's dark sometimes. It's very depressing. I kind of sleep in my basement where my music is, and I stay in my thoughts a lot. And since I'm like kind of like I'm a loner, kind of not really a loner, but like yeah, like I'm an introvert. I stay in my basement and I make music, and it's kind of like it's like an echo chamber, just with your thoughts all the time, just feeding back and forth, and like sometimes it gets really dark, very scary in my head. So music kind of it's weird. That's where the substance use and stuff comes in because you need things to fill that void and stuff like that. Especially when you were famous at a young age and you're not having the same kind of feedback, same amounts of feedback or dopamine, being filled. So it's music's a weird thing. It definitely helped express myself, but I definitely had a hard time through COVID, regardless if there's music or not. From me, from my perspective, but I could see how everybody else. It definitely helps.
Yeah, it's interesting how you say that. Sometimes the creators do have a interesting relationship with music. It's also the same with all musicians have had these issues and challenges. I was listening to an interview with Van Halen. He has a similar thing where he rest in peace, he's dead, but he had a real challenge with he didn't listen to a lot of his old music. He was only making new music. He was in the studio working on new things. Even with that level of it wasn't about. Eventually, it became about just making new music and being around it, and there are always struggles.
Right. Yeah. It's not. It's That's how I know I love it. It's a struggle, and I keep doing it for some reason. No matter how hard it gets, I just can't stop doing it.
Creators are going to create,
Yeah. I just can't help myself, no matter how much stress it puts me through.
and the
So I
process is
definitely have a.
messy.
It is messy. Yeah. I don't make music every day. I don't have a disciplined schedule. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, substitutes. I gotta go have fun. I'm not in my studio right now. Like so I make it whenever I want to. It's a very messy process. There's a lot of arguing in the house. There's a lot of crazy shit going on around me, and then I just make music when I feel like it. And that's kind of how I live life. I'm young, and I have time to mature. I'm practicing maturing. Um, but yeah, right now it's definitely a messy process. I'm young. I'm
I
figuring it
can't wait
out.
to hear when you find it because I really think that the music is great and I think you've got so much to say. I want to thank
Thank
you
you.
for coming on the show today. Any last words you'd like to tell the fans? Do you have any live performances coming up? I think we lost our guest, Mr. Malcolm Brickhouse, who's a really interesting guest, a deep thinker and an artist who's combining multiple genres. Check out his music, great artist. Thank you for joining us on Music Matters with Jason Tramm. Please remember to subscribe and like our videos, share them, and up there's Malcolm.
Yeah, it's okay. But thank
It
you for
happens.
the introduction.
Do you have any live performances coming up where people can see you live?
No, not yet. I'm still putting the band together.
Okay, still working on that process, and when you
Yep.
do, make sure you put it out there. And I want to put it all on all our social media too. We'll have people come.
Oh, of course. Thank you. I'd appreciate that.
I'm going to be one of them. I really can't wait to see you perform live.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having this conversation with you.
Look forward to meeting you in person, and keep on thinking and wrestling with the music. And I can't wait to see what those wrestling matches come up with.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you. The universe is crazy.
It really is,
Yeah.
and it only gets
But
more
thank-
interesting, and things get closer, and as we grow as people.
Right. But thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
All the best, Malcolm. Chalice.
All right. Ciao.
Thank you for joining us on Music Matters with Jason Tramm. Please remember to subscribe to us and check out our library of 215 past episodes on www.jasontram.net. And remember, keep music alive.